Hey guys, welcome to the Max Invest YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about why I believe cryptos are dropping right now. If you've been following the market over the past couple of days, you might be able to see that Ethereum, Chainlink, and a few other cryptos have had some pretty bad days, and it does seem like we are trending down pretty strongly. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, and remember, nothing in this video is financial advice. The main reason the market dropped is because there's a big crypto liquidation event. Essentially, $725 million worth of crypto liquidations occurred in 24 hours. Of course, this is an absolutely massive number and it shows why the market dropped substantially. Cryptocurrency started falling, individuals got liquidated, which resulted in more selling pressure, crypto kept falling, more liquidations occurred, and it basically spiraled out of control. This is very common in the crypto markets, and this honestly tends to happen once every couple of weeks, and I do see a lot of liquidation events. However, a lot of people in crypto tend not to look behind this and see why there were actually all of these liquidations. Because right now, crypto dropping is no coincidence. A lot of people think it is just a random drop. However, if you look at all of the markets together, we can see that almost every market is dropping right now. Currently, the overall stock market is dropping severely, crypto is also dropping, and basically everything is very uncertain right now, so I briefly want to talk about the macro perspective of what's happening here. Essentially, there have been a few macroeconomic announcements that are quite bad for crypto and quite bad for the markets in general. Essentially, a lot of people thought the Federal Reserve were going to actually begin to raise interest rates. However, the Federal Reserve have said that they're not going to raise interest rates and they're going to find another method of clearing money out of the market. Essentially, what the Federal Reserve have said is that they're probably going to be selling bonds. Now, what this essentially means is that the Federal Reserve will be clearing money out of all of the markets. Essentially, what the Federal Reserve are doing right now and right at this minute is they're buying bonds right now. When the Federal Reserve buy bonds, this gives more money to bondholders and it puts more money in crypto. So when the Federal Reserve do sell bonds, they're going to be doing the opposite. Right now, the Federal Reserve still have a bond buying program and they are still buying bonds. However, they have said that they are going to stop doing this eventually and they will actually start selling bonds without too much of a timeline on this. Now, I do actually think that this is good for the economy in the long term. The Federal Reserve does need to start clearing out money from the economy unless they want inflation to start overwhelming the economy. Now, in my opinion, this will actually be quite bad for stocks and markets in the short term if this does occur, because clearing money out of overheated markets generally isn't that good and it can cause some bubbles to burst. However, to be honest, my perspective on this bit of macro news is that I don't think too much of it. And the reason for this is the markets indicate how well they're going by how they react to news. In a bull market, stocks and cryptos will brush off any form of bad news and they'll only focus on good news. In a bear market, stocks and cryptos will brush off any form of good news and they'll only focus on the bad news. I do think that this tends to happen quite a lot. So, in my opinion, if the market does want to continue going on a bull market, it will just eventually brush off this news and start focusing more on good news, and this will be more short term. I do think that generally the markets are going to trend a little bit up over the next couple of years. I think crypto will easily outperform the stock market. However, I do still think that the stock market will probably overall trend up, even if the Federal Reserve starts buying back bonds. You could look at this in two different ways. One way you could say this is good news because the market is actually expecting interest rates and it shows the Federal Reserve will probably keep interest rates lower for longer, or you could look at it as bad news as clearing money out of the market. I do believe that a lot of this is overall quite expected and I don't think this news is actually too bad. Now, another thing a lot of people say in crypto is they say that inflation will skyrocket and cryptos will also skyrocket. I think that this is a pretty uninformed position, and the reason I think this is because cryptos are risk-on assets, so if inflation skyrockets, interest rates are raised, cryptos will probably start crashing because they are very risky. I don't see any cryptos that are a hedge against inflation right now, and I'm not sure that we ever will. So in my opinion, I do think that this is a short-term dip, and I think the market is just picking out good bits and bad bits of news, and eventually the market should continue to trend back up and we won't need to worry about this too much. However, I did just want to give the macro perspective on why crypto is dipping right now. As we can see, Ethereum is only down roughly 10% on the week and 5% on the day. Last night I saw Ethereum down about 11% on the day. However, I really don't think that this is too much to worry about or too bad. It's just a bit of a minor dip given the macro conditions. Of course, I know a lot of my viewers have came on the channel to see why Chainlink is doing quite well, and honestly I don't know. The majority of cryptos are down right now. However, Chainlink is up 2% on the day and 27% on the week. This dip seems not to have broken any momentum for Chainlink, and Chainlink continues to rally. So it's great to see Chainlink continue to go up, and it's actually making some ground against Ethereum and Bitcoin on their ratios. 26% on the week is very solid given that most cryptos are down over 10% on the week. So Chainlink is actually going astonishingly well during this dip. Now, one of the things that I do want to caution people about is Chainlink is still only at $25, and historically over the past year or so, $25 is still pretty low for Chainlink. Ethereum, Bitcoin, and the majority of other cryptos have outperformed Chainlink vastly, and Chainlink still hasn't gained quite enough ground against them. In my opinion, we would need to see Chainlink go up roughly 100% against Ethereum whilst Ethereum stays static. So if Ethereum is completely static and we see Chainlink reaching around the $40 mark, I do think that this starts to really resemble a breakout for Chainlink. However, I do think we need to wait and see Chainlink properly pump against these other cryptos before we get too bullish. There's been too many times where Chainlink does a bit of a minor pump, but then dumps way harder than the rest of the market. Sometimes I see Ethereum dumping by 15% and Chainlink casually dumping by 40 to 50%, which is way worse than the rest of the market. So, a lot of Link Marines are gaining a lot of hope on Twitter, and I do just want to say this has obviously happened a lot in the past, and we do actually need to wait and see Chainlink do a bit more of a sustained breakout in order to start getting bullish about Chainlink again and actually start seeing a reversal on the charts. Once Chainlink properly starts to pull a reversal, I do think Chainlink is in for its old all-time highs, and I do think Chainlink can actually get up to that $100 range by the end of this year. If we can just see Chainlink reverse and start properly trending up, I do think Chainlink will be able to surprise a lot of people. However, I will say this does look like the start of a trend up, however it definitely isn't confirmed whatsoever, and we do need to see some better price action. Also, I did do a post on Twitter saying why is Chainlink outperforming the rest of the market, wrong answers only, and there are some pretty funny responses in there. If you want to check that out, go down to my Twitter down below. It is a good read and I would encourage you to do so. Now, there haven't been too many big bits of news about Chainlink or Ethereum over the past couple of days. The beginning of January has actually been very quiet for crypto in general. I haven't been able to find too many big bits of news. However, one thing that happened in the Chainlink ecosystem was a bit of a Twitter Spaces, and this is recorded on Spotify. Essentially, Chainlink God did a question and answer session in Based Spaces, and he answered a lot of very good questions. This definitely gave me a lot more knowledge about Chainlink, and it was very useful to listen to. I will link below this tweet so anyone can check it out, and I would recommend giving this a watch. There were heaps of interesting questions asked, and heaps of interesting questions answered that definitely helped level up my knowledge about Chainlink. Anyway, this brings us to the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, join the Discord,